Newcastle United, thriller on Tyneside, 4-3 versus Leeds United. We discussed the performance, who was your man of the match, and going into the Bournemouth game FA Cup, can Newcastle get it over the line? And who are the best performing managers in the Premier League? Find out right here on Toon Tactics TV, folks.
Oh, brilliant from Cher. And now Murphy can take on the shot. Bobby and Cher win!
All right, folks. How are you all doing? How is your week going? I hope it's been productive. I hope that whatever you're doing with your families and your workplaces, whatever it is, I hope you are blessed. And let me know where you guys are listening from, what you guys are up to. Are you going to work? Are you listening at home? Let me know where you are and what you're doing. Tonight we're gonna have a fantastic show that I'm looking forward to. We are going to be doing the reaction. The first one we're going to do the reaction to the incredible Leeds victory at St James's Park 4-3 victory. Then we're going to do a preview for the Bournemouth game. So a lot to looking forward to that tactical breakdown for that game. Can we get up again after the exhaustion from the Leeds game? Can we do it again against Bournemouth, who have a very similar playing style to Leeds as well? And we the final part of the show, we're going to be looking at with our who are the best performing managers in the Premier League with our friend of the channel, Bobby Fairview. So tons and tons and tons for us to look forward to. But without further ado, let's kick off with the reaction to the Leeds game, which was absolutely phenomenal. I want to start off with an overall view of the game before looking at individual stats. And as we're doing that, guys, do send me and do let me know who your man of the match was. It'll be really good, and or maybe hold fire because I have a lot of data and individual metrics for individuals as well. So there's quite a bit going on there. Is it Harvey Barnes? Is it Bruno? Is it Miley? Who is it going to be? Let me know. Who is your man of the match? All right, so let me see if you guys can see this. Okay, so you can see it. Went just a bit forward there to the thing. Let me go back to went straight to the pass map there. But let's let's rewind a little bit to the overall team stats. Now I've got a mixture of stats. I've got Opta Analyst and I've got FBref. So I do rate both of those. But let's in terms of lineups, by the way, the one lineup that I think we got pretty much the predicted lineup. I think Bruno started. Was there only one change? Let me see. Lineups. Now to remember everything. Voltamada started instead of Wissa. So some of you guys called it that sort of rotation. They're always going to be rotating as well. So Voltamada starting instead of Wissa. That was the big point. And we did talk about in this game in terms of the preview. We did talk about how essentially Leeds in the first 15 minutes were going to they were always going to kind of come at us fast. They were going to hit be pressing, be pushing, be tackling man on man. And in the match preview, I know I underestimated their physicality and their level of ability to do that to us, because they did a phenomenal job in doing that. And as Eddie Howe said in the post-match interview, it felt like we were never in control of the game, and we felt like we was always chasing the game, and we were also always chasing the game. We were consistently going a goal behind. I had to come back 3 times to kind of emphasize that point. So Leeds are phenomenal, not just in that, but also in possession as well. I felt like when we tried to get the ball back from them, they were really good with the ball. Aronson really surprised me in terms of his movement, his ability in close controls in the pocket. Obviously scored 2 goals. I thought he was really well. So that was interesting. And the stats, we had the bit most of the possession, which was always going to be kind of the likely thing. But where Leeds did make up for it is in their press. So you can see that we lost 29 times the possession in our own half. They did 36, and I think a lot of their stats, a lot of the game shifted towards that 10-5 final 10 to 15 minutes or so, especially when we're looking for that final, for that third and fourth goal, really. Dual success rate, 50% to us, 48% to them. So it's like I said, it was really, really like it was a real battle. Again, successful dribbles, 8 to us, 8 to them. That's continued to be going really, really well. We had 8 crosses awarded to us and 4 to them. I thought that you will see from the pass map, we were using our flanks as much as possible. You're going to see also from individual metrics who are the people, who are the folks, who are the players and the individuals that were kind of really pressing and kind of getting us those corners, passes that were kind of mounting up and building pressure. So we had about 545 passes overall to their 300 plus. Long pass of those, or 47 of those were long passes. For them, 54. So we knew they had a direct style, but they still did. I thought they still had a decent build up as well, in my opinion, as well. But you can see that they relied on long passes a lot more than us. Passing accuracy, 86% to us, whereas 76% to them. Although obviously it didn't feel like that sometimes with the amount of times we got quite sloppy plays. I think at least from what I can remember, 2 of their goals were done to our own errors, to be honest. Passing accuracy in the opponent's half, 84% to us. So we really stepped it up in the opposition half. You guys will know that usually we get like 75, 76% accuracy in the opposition half. So we kind of really upped it in this game. Whereas they had 69%. Passing accuracy in the final third. In the final third, we had 82%. They had 60%. Forward passes, 334. There was a lot. You're going to see from individual players that there were certain players that were, for us especially, that were really, really, especially like Miley, Lewis Hall, Bruno, were really fundamental in getting the ball forward for us as well. Interestingly, we had 51 final third entries, whereas Leeds had 62. So it lets you know just how on top Leeds were, especially kind of in different moments as well. Open play crosses, we are the open play crosses kings. I think we even lead the table for crosses as well. We had 26 to their 6. Total number of crosses 35. Just from if you add the corner kicks as well to their 12. Crossing accuracy 25% to us, 33% to them. Obviously, the volume of passes is probably the reason why we had such a low. Our percentage of accuracy goes low, but it's still not bad. And I feel like there was I feel like we were unlucky at times, especially when Wissa came on. There was a few crosses that were going into the box. Now, the main metrics, the goals themselves: 4 goals to us, 3 to theirs, 2 to Barnes, 1 to Joe Linton. Really, really good header from him, from a Travella assist from the captain Bruno Gomes, and obviously the winning goal from, and who scored the other goal? Bruno. 2 to Bruno, 2 to Barnes. Bruno from the penalty. Captain clutch himself under pressure, got it over. We had 18 shots to their 14. 8 of those shots were on target. 6 for them was on target. Shots outside the box, we had 3 this time, opposed to 2. I know some people were asking, when can we shoot outside the box more? We a little bit more this time. We had 15 shots inside their box. They had 12 in ours. Like, we were both taking the mick. We were both taking a lot of touches in each other's boxes, to be honest. Shot accuracy, excluding blocked shots. This is a better from Newcastle and from Leeds, to be honest. That's why there's so many goals. 57.1 to us in terms of shot accuracy, excluding block shots. Shooting accuracy in general was 44.4% to their 42. Like, this is a lot higher. 14 key passes to 9 of theirs as well. And as I mentioned, Lewis Hall, Bruno Gomes were very much a big part of that. And tackle success rate, we had a bigger tackle success rate than them as well. Interception, they had 16 interceptions to our 9. So you can see that their overall defensive structure was really, really good, and they were catching us in the transition quite a bit, as well as getting high turnovers from us, final third turnovers in our area. So that was really, really hurting us. The pace that they came in at was really, really, really hurting us. And look, finally, in terms of our pass map, almost identical to the previous pass map, but you can see the flanks here. As always, on the left and right side. God bless you, Adrian. Good to see you. Evening to you, sir. Let me know who I'm going to be talking about individual. We're going to do an overall stats in a moment, but I'm going to be talking about individual stats in the moment. So let me know who your man of the match was, and everybody else, and how you feel about that game. But as you can see, guys, on the left and right side, as always, our passing patterns are very, very similar. From the right here, Miley had a tremendous game. 26 passes between him and Bruno Gomes, 14 passes between him and Barnes, and between Bruno and Barnes, 17 passes. So real kind of connection and pattern of play here. Voldemort, obviously, this time a little bit more connected. Him and Tonali were right next to each other, supporting each other there in the middle. And then on the left-hand side, Joe Linton, who I thought had a good game as well, better on the ball, a lot better on the ball. But from Shah onwards, 29 passes between Shah and Hall. Hall, who again had a tremendous game. 29 passes between him and Shah, who unfortunately got injured, and God willing, he gets healed quickly and rapidly, comes back to us. Gordon and Hall, 19 passes between them. Hall is always keeping Gordon well in the game as always, which is important. And then between Hall and Joe Linton, 13 passes all game between them. And Gordon had, I thought, had a decent game as well. That will come out in the stats as well. I know he gets a lot of stick, but there's so much so much different work he does that gets unnoticed, which is annoying. So it wasn't just Hall that was connecting with him. Shah was connecting with him as well. Joe Linton with 4 passes between them, 5 passes between him and Bruno as well. So Gordon was also very, very involved, as was Barnes. I can't see Votamada too much. It's like literally Tonali is right on top of him, but you can't see. But you can see the flanks were the areas that we were trying to work at very, very well. Chow had a dodgy game, was taken off at half time. I think he made a mistake there. We talked about it in terms of player fatigue in the previous show, and he was one of the, I think, highest, most minutes played. I think I'm putting his performance down to that, really, in terms of just fatigue. Honestly, he's played a lot of games for us. But generally, both Leeds, it's a really, really closely contested game between both sides, and I thought we showed tremendous resilience and tremendous character. Let me know who your man of the match. Now, breaking it down even further, that was the overall team stats. What was the individual stats? And I got this from FB Ref and kind of plotted it on and I kind of broke it down into different sections: passing, shot creating actions, other areas as well. And I kind of ranked it like top 3, top 5 players, and it kind of gives you a summary of who the best players were in those different areas. So you can tell me who your man of the match is now, or you can hold up, let me know, but actually do send them in advance. Sometimes you just use your eyes, really. You don't have to wait for the data. Use your eyes. Some of the things that you like seeing as well. Some really, really good play from a few of our players, to be honest. So just judging from the passing, Bruno Gomes, in terms of like the top 5 passes, really, Bruno Gomes was a clear leader of 68 passes completed, 86% accuracy, 15 progressive passes from him, really, really good. Closely followed by, tied actually with Lewis Hall, who had 68 passes as well, 10 of them progressive passes. Again, he was really, really good. Lewis Miley, again, really efficient. 66 passes, 66 of his 69 were accurate passes, and that's 95% accuracy. So in terms of accuracy, he was higher than everybody. And 6 progressive passes from him, really, really good. Fabian Shah, 51 completed passes, would have been more had he not come off injured. 3 progressive passes from him. And Tino Livramento, 38 passes from him. And he came on, obviously, in the second half, and he still managed to get 95% accuracy of five progressive passes from Tino Livramento. So that was a really, really good impact. But overall, Bruno on top of the charts here as well. Again, in terms of this is for my name's over it. This is for the What section is this for? I think this is passing. Let me make sure I get it right. I was going to say passing types. Yes, it is. It's for passing types. So passing types. So this is including. Oh, let me get back on screen. Let me get back on screen. Let me get back on screen. Passing types. Where are you? Can you guys see that? Yes, you can. Let me get back on. No, that's the wrong one. I don't want to be there. Here we go. Passing types, Lewis Hall. So this includes crosses, long balls, and dead balls. Lewis Hall was the main outlet with 9 crosses and handling 12 dead ball situations, so free kicks and everything else. He had 4 corner kicks as well. Then followed by Bruno Gomes, who had executed 6 crosses. 3, one of them obviously was a goal as well. The Trevella assist, fantastic from him. 3 corner kicks from him. And a team high 5 passes into the penalty area, 5 passes into the penalty area. So he was the man that was really breaking the lines and kind of unlocking the defense for us. Harvey Barnes did really, really well as well. He was he got himself 8 crosses and 1 corner kick as well. Pope did all right. His distribution had a decent distribution. He had 14 long passes, 4 of them were completed, much better from him. And Gordon attempted 4 crosses, and that is a secondary dead ball specialist, about 3 corner kicks as well. But Lewis Hall and Bruno were like the main kind of crosses, long ballers, and dead ball guys for the team. Really, really, really pushing the team forward. I thought were really, really good, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are, as always. Then we're looking at the defensive actions. So we looked at the pass types. What were the defensive actions? Lewis Miley leads the charge, the man who played right back and centre back for the team, who's absolutely outstanding. He had 5 tackles, 4 of them won, 2 interceptions plus 7 clearances. I don't know if you guys remember the when he was made to go centre back and then the tackle he made on Calvert-Lewin in the penalty box, absolutely phenomenal. Followed by Fabian Schär, who was obviously got off injured, but in that time still got 6 clearances, got 2 blocks, 2 interceptions, 1 tackle. Really good from him. Bruno Gomes, all action, 3 tackles and 3 interceptions on top of all the passes that he was doing, everything else. Joe Linton, 3 tackles and 3 recorded clearances. Botman, who came on in 45 minutes, had a good game, 4 clearances, helped to stabilize the defense as well. But Lewis Miley really, really stood tall for the team. Really, really good. So some good individual play from kind of good individual ranking for players. So possession and ball carrying. You could probably close your eyes, and if I were to ask you who leads it, Bruno Gomes. So this is for ranked by touches, progressive carries, and take on. So these guys were the guys that were affecting the game, dictating the play, and pushing the team forward with the ball. Bruno Gomes, 93 touches, 49 carries. Jeez Louise. Pass and move all across throughout the game. Lewis Holden followed it up with just 2 less touches, 91 touches for him, operating from the left back row. So you can see who dictates the play for us. Lewis Hall, 87 touches. He was incredibly secure. 0, I repeat, 0 dispossessions or miscontrols noted in his higher volume passes. 0. Unbelievable. Harvey Barnes did really well. 30 carries for him. 30 carries, and 3 of those are progressive carries as well, successfully completing 2 take-ons. And you know how, he's not, exactly a take-on merchant, but he definitely stepped it up in this game. Anthony Gordon, 17 carries and 6 take-on attempts. How many of those were successful, I forgot. But he did his bit as well. But Bruno, Lewis Hall, and Lewis Miley were absolutely phenomenal for us in terms of, especially on the ball, dictating play, getting it over the line for us. I thought they were really, 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 really good. So let me know what your thoughts are on that, on that game, man of the match and everything else. I'm already building a picture in my mind who it is. So if we were just to just a quick kind of summary of what we had so far. We've got some more of those stats coming up, but just a quick summary at the moment in terms of who's leading first and second place. If you're looking at passing, defense, possession, Bruno is in first place for passing for pass completions of Lewis Hall and Lewis Miley, second and third. Defense, tackling, and interception, Lewis Miley, first place, and possession and touches is Bruno Gomes as well. So, in terms of passing and possession, Bruno Gomes, defensive tackle and interception, Lewis Miley, absolutely phenomenal for Newcastle United. Now, adding shot creating actions and expected assists and everything else, Bruno Gomes led the team in terms of shot creating actions, with 6 shot creating actions for him, drawing lots of fouls as well in the game. Lewis Hall recorded 5 shot creating actions as well as a left back, allegedly a left back for Newcastle United, largely driven by his 9 attempted crosses, the most of any player in the pitch. Phenomenal from him. And Anthony Gordon, who, although he didn't get an assist, he got an expected assist of 0.4. So he was, getting it out there, trying to put it on the plate for players, indicating that he had chances to create, but, we didn't take full advantage of those. So Bruno, Lewis Hall, Anthony Gordon lead the shot creating actions and expected assists for Newcastle United. Expected goals, Harvey Barnes, 2 goals from 0.3 xG. So he definitely overperformed. The last chance he scored, that chance was like 0.07 xG. So just to tell you how well he done to be able to get that goal in that high pressure situation with about 3, 4, 5 players surrounding him, including the goalkeeper. He was very, very clinical. High, and who led the higher volume chances? There's none other but Bruno Gomes. 0.xg on the high. He bolstered it by obviously his ice cold 91st minute penalty as well. But he also had an assist. He was also creating other chances, big chances for other players as well. He was absolutely phenomenal in this game. And just a shout out to Nick Pope. We don't want to leave out our goalkeepers. He had 6 shots to save. 3 of them he made saves, so at a 50% rate, which is about what Nick Pope does. Conceded 3 goals. Let me know if you kind of think he should have saved any of those. I think I'm only Uman and Aaron maybe about the last goal for him, but it was a close one. He did also make a vital save in the 85th minute, so you can't count him out. So despite conceding 3 goals, he had a decent game. So if you put it all together, the shot creating actions, if you put it together, the passing, the defending, the possessions, the shot creating actions, the goal threat, number 1, passing, Bruno Gomes, followed by Lewis Hall and Lewis Miley. Defense of Lewis Miley, followed by Fabian Schär and Bruno Gomes. Possession and touches, Bruno Gomes, followed by Lewis Hall and Lewis Miley. Shot creating actions, followed by Bruno number 1 with Lewis Hall and Gordon and Tonali in joint 3rd place. Goal threat, Bruno Gomes, followed by Joe Linton and Harvey Barnes. So if we're looking at the metrics, especially from FB Ref, and we're to ask who was your man of the match, probably Bruno Gomes. And for me, in terms of watching the game itself, I pipped Bruno Gomes just above Harvey Barnes, followed by Lewis Miley, in my opinion. Not only did Bruno Gomes, the leader in passing and touches and shot creating actions and goal threats, he also got a goal and assist, and he got that penalty in the dying embers of the game, or towards the dying embers of the game, that got us back on track. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal for us, and I just give it to the captain. He led like a captain, played like a captain, and I think he was phenomenal for us. So Bruno Gomes for me was man of the match, with Lewis Miley a close second, followed by Harvey Barnes, and then it's probably Lewis Hall for me, who again is words can't describe. I think he's absolutely phenomenal for us. But let me know you guys how you feel about the game. Let me know who you feel should have been man of the match. For me, like as I said, it is for sure Bruno Gomes. So that puts us, I think we're 6th in the league. I know that Let's just double check ourselves. I know that Liverpool just played. So let me share the screen with you guys. I know that Liverpool just played. Let me take this off. So I don't know if that changes anything. I don't know where Liverpool were before. Yeah, so we're sixth. Where's Liverpool? Okay, so Liverpool are four. So yeah, Liverpool are fourth with 35 points. Brentford with 33 points. We're fifth with we're sixth with 32 points, joint with Man United, who are on 32. Chelsea have got 31. Fulham have got 31. Sunderland are 10th with 30 points. And then 11th are Brighton with 29 points. So the game is so tight, and Everton, who got 29 points as well. So it is super, super, super tight, all the way to down to 11th, 13th, if you want to count Palace and everybody that those players. Oh gosh, Tottenham are 14th. So it's super, super tight. Quick look at the XG table, as we always do. Newcastle would be fifth instead of sixth, with again performing with 31. We've got 32 goals scored. Our offense is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Again, teams are overperforming against us, but if you look at the Leeds game, I think Leeds deserved to get the goals that they did, in my opinion. So let's move on to our pre-match preview. Let's have a look at Bournemouth. So while we're on the table, let's talk about Bournemouth. Let's see what's happening with Bournemouth. Now, they just beat Tottenham 3-2. Semenyo with the last minute goal. He's now been confirmed as a Man City player. That's quite big. That's quite significant, him not traveling to St. James's Park, because he's now a Man City player. We're going to be talking about that. But before that game, Sunderland were like, they hadn't won, like, not Sunderland. I said Sunderland, Bournemouth hadn't won a game in like 10, 11 games. If you look at them at the moment, where is it? Where's their fixtures and everything else? Yeah, they hadn't won like 10, 11 games, but they got a significant victory over Tottenham. They're currently 15th in the league with 26 points. They have won 6 games, drawn 8, lost 7. So I think that they've lost the same amount of games as we have. And they've scored 34, conceded 40. Now, hold on to that conceding part as well, because I'm looking at the XG table in a moment. And before the Tottenham game, and this is in the league, obviously, they lost to, drawn to, that being a draw against Burnley, a loss to Aston Villa, a draw to Chelsea 2-2, and they lost to Arsenal 3-2 before beating Tottenham 3-2 with a Semenyo winning goal. Why I hold on to that conceding part, if we look at the XG table, just learning about Bournemouth, you'll see that their XG says that they are only slightly overperforming. So I think they got, as I said, they got 34 goals that they've scored, but XG says they're overperforming by at least 1 goal, which isn't too bad, which isn't bad at all. But if you look at goals conceded, what XG is saying is that opposition teams are overperforming by plus 8.5 goals. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. And had they conceded 31 goals rather than the 40, they would probably be 10th in the league. They'll be a mid-table side. At the moment, they aren't. They're 15th. So that's interesting. I don't know why that is. Petrovic is obviously their goalkeeper. We talked about the Leeds goalkeeper in the previous game, Perry, and Leeds had a similar problem. I thought he could have done better for that last Harvey Barnes goal. I wonder if Petrovic has a similar issue, or is it a personnel problem? I just wonder what it is for Bournemouth. But teams are hugely overperforming against them in terms of from the chance they're creating and the goals that are actually going in. So I'll be keen to know what the reason for that is. But this is the FA Cup. It might be a bit different for them in the FA Cup. But let's talk about that's the kind of the overall status of where Bournemouth are in the league and how they're performing. But this is the FA Cup. This is the FA Cup. How they look at the FA Cup? I'll be keen to know. Like, are they? Do you guys think that that Bournemouth will look to change teams? Would they look not change teams? Would they look to play their B team or and focus in the league, or do you think they'll feel comfortable that they can progress both in the league and in the FA Cup and still field a strong side? Because spoiler alert, I do think we're going to make significant changes for this FA Cup. But if we look at Bournemouth's style of play, and again, getting metrics from Opta analysts as we do, putting it all together and kind of matching it up to us. We know very well in terms of how we play, control versatility, in possession, focus on building up the back in the 3-2-5 or a 2-3-2-3 formation, whichever way we do it. Big up to you. Adrian says, I think both of us will chop and change. Yeah, I think both teams, interesting bookings will both change, chop and change. Big up Liam Knowles. Good to see you, sir. God bless you. Losing both your quality centre backs in the summer was always going to knock them. It did. And they both went to Dejan, obviously, not Dejan. Dean Huijsen went to Madrid. Zabani went to PSG. They lost like 5-6 players, and they all went to that top elite side. So you can tell how they got such an elite recruitment in Bournemouth. But they've replaced them with some decent players as well. But as well, and looking at kind of different reports on how they play, Iriola's system, he still plays the same system, and he gets the same players to fill in those exact same position. So we know, like as I mentioned, Newcastle in possession, 3-2-5 or 2-3-2-3, 3-2-3-2, really fluid, really changeable. Out of possession, 4-5-1, 5-4-1 as well. Bournemouth, though, we want to focus on Bournemouth, how they play, relentlessly high intensity. And I got to scout a bit of Bournemouth against Tottenham, and God bless Tottenham, but their players did the team absolutely no justice. Even though they went a goal up, were in control, but Bournemouth took control from them. Bournemouth were able to dictate the game out of possession really, really, really well. And they're going to try and do the same thing against us. This is why it's good that we played Leeds first, and we got that high intensity. So now it's in our system, and we're ready. We're gonna face it again against Bournemouth. Hopefully we're not gonna get caught cold with it. So they play that high intensity football, aggressive pressing in the 4-2-3-1 system. They're first in the league for direct attacks. First in the league for direct attacks. They're going to be very, very direct, guys. We're going to have to be ready for this. Using vertical balls, especially on the flanks, and especially when they had Semenyo. This is the key part about them losing Semenyo. You'll see. I should have showed. I'm going to show the individual goals and everything for them in a moment. Let me do that now, because when they had Semenyo, he was really, really good. Kind of in those one-on-one situations. An aggressive high press. They have the lowest PPDA, so passes per defensive action, meaning that teams. So, for instance, to give an example, I think we've got 11 PPDA. So oppositions are able to get about 11 passes before we get the ball from them. I think I forgot what Bournemouth says, but they have the lowest, meaning that it's very, very hard to build up. It's very hard to build up against them. They're going to compact that midfield. It's going to be super, 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 super difficult to try and just to break them down. To kind of be in possession against them. They're going to be counting on that, in fact. So let me just kind of highlight, because we talked about Semenyo a little bit, just to kind of focus in on that. If you look to the right here, Semenyo's got 10 goals for them and 3 assists. And they're going to be missing him. They're going to be missing him tremendously. I don't know how many Brooks says. I'm going to look at Brooks. I think he's going to be playing for him. But he's got 10 goals, 3 assists. That's a huge contribution for them. Evan Nilsson's got 4. Krupi, who's their centre forward as well, exceptional finisher. Really, really dangerous. We have to look out for him. 7 goals for him. Tavernier, who I was talking about as a potential utility player for us. I thought it would have been really good to have. Now, he's got 4 goals, 3 assists. He can play anywhere. You got him on the right here, but he can play left back. He can play left midfield. He can play right wing as he's playing for them now. It's such a great utility player. And I wish we had him now. I think we would have had even better depth. We need a player like a Tavernier, in my opinion. And I don't mean a Tavernier from back in the day. For those who know, you know. So Semenyo's going to be a huge, huge miss. In fact, let me see how many Brooks has got before I turn over. How many goals does Brooks have? Squad. Brooks. Where is Brooks? Brooks. Here we go. David Brooks. I always respect. He survived cancer as well. Was out the game for about a year and so, a bit more, probably more actually. Came back, survived cancer, came back. God bless the guy. Doing absolutely phenomenal. I can't see how many goals he's got. What's his GA at the moment is. He's got one assist against Tottenham. He got one assist against Tottenham and one goal. So I think he's got one goal, one assist compared to the 10 goals, 3 assists that Mr. Semenyo has. It's a tremendous miss for them. If we're honest, it's a tremendous miss for them. So we'll see what happens there. So, like I said, relentlessly high intensity, direct play, aggressive high press. So we just experienced that with Leeds. We're going to experience it again. My hope is that we adapt and we do better. Our strengths, our defensive compactness, our midfield control with Bruno Tonali, but I would say with Lewis Hall, Lewis Miley as well come up, who get into those positions for us. Set piece threat. We're in the 100th percentile, did you know, for corners and crosses. That's crazy. And weaknesses, goal inconsistencies. Teams are still getting a bit lucky and overperforming against us. We need to deal with that. And a little bit of transitional vulnerability. So although we're aggressive, our fullbacks can leave us kind of on the counter. 22nd percentile for encounter defense. 22nd percentile. That's not very good. But it's the way we play. It's by design. And if anything, if you guys caught me doing the mid-season review in the previous show on Tuesday, Newcastle have an elite defense, one of the top 3 teams in the league. So it's working for us so far. But let's look at Bournemouth's strengths and weaknesses. So high turnovers. So is their strengths high turnovers? They excel at winning the ball high up in the pitch and creating shots. They rank 2nd or 3rd in the league for high turnovers. Physical intensity, overwhelming opponents in the first 30 minutes. We just had that with Leeds. I said the first 15 minutes would be crucial. I didn't realize the first 100 minutes would be crucial. How it kind of worked out. But we're going to expect the same from Bournemouth and probably even more because obviously of how good they are. Individual players, Anton Semenyo is not there. 10 goals, 3 assists. He's involved in 60% of their goals. So just in one transfer, just in one swift like that, 60% of their goals and assists is gone. And that's tough. That is tough. We'll see how they adapt. They might not. Hopefully they don't adapt. Hopefully they don't adapt too soon. Weaknesses, sustainability. Sustaining that high energy is difficult. They have lots of injuries at the moment as well. We're going to look at that as well, and have an over reliance on directness. So if an opponent can bypass their initial press, Bournemouth's defense looks exposed as they play a very high defense. So can Eddie Howe, can the players adjust to the high intensity, the high press, and begin to win their one-to-one duels and pick out gaps that Bournemouth will inevitably form by pressing so high? That'll be the key thing there. Now, if you compare us in terms of offensive stats, we're in the 54th percentile. I think we were a bit higher last time, but in terms of high XG generation and big chances created, but lower. So we create lots of chances and big chances. We lead on that, but our conversion rate doesn't match that. And from my mid-season review, where I rank the team's performance so far as a B- and Eddie Howe's as A-, I do feel like I've got another 2-3 levels to go. And if anything, perhaps I would say yesterday's yesterday's performance shows you what we can do. What we can do is hopefully not concede 3 goals, but if we can sustain that ability to continue to create chances and convert them, we'll do really, really well, I think. Bournemouth are also good, top 5. They rank 4th for total shots, first for direct attacks, and are highly efficient in transition. So they're a really, really good attack. Really, really good attack. Again, we'll see how they do without Semenyo. Defensively, in the defensive area, we are in the 63rd percentile, excellent XGA, so rank 10th in terms of conceding, in terms of chances that we limit. I don't think that's accurate. I don't know. AI must have messed up something, but we're in the top 2 or 3 for that. So I don't know how. Oh, in terms of clean sheets, was that team clean sheets? I think AI has messed up a bit because we're higher than that, because we're a lot higher than that. But Bournemouth improved, top 10, high impact from new signings like Diakate, second total tackles and recoveries. Again, teams are overperforming by 8 goals against Bournemouth. I don't know what the reason for that is, but we certainly nick it in terms of defensive areas. Control, 65 percentile Newcastle, strong possession, 50%. I think Bournemouth's about 50%, and high pass accuracy. Low control from Bournemouth, and they prefer chaos over control, direct attacks, direct. So you're going to try and see, you might see a similar pattern of play as we did against Leeds, us trying to have a build-up structure, trying to control the midfield, whilst the opposition, being Bournemouth as it leads at this time, be high tackling, be pressing, man-to-man, lots of rough and tough fighting, individual battles going on. So let's see how we do in those situations. It'd be really, really important. Hopefully we improve and we handle it a little bit better. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about Bournemouth so far. I think Liam said it, and others, I think we're expecting lots of chopping and changing from both teams. So let's bring up the tactics board. And let me know who you would be, you guys, who would be in you guys starting 11. Let me see if you guys can see that. Yes, you can. Right, so I haven't actually done my starting 11. It's just come up as it is. But so I'll do it with you guys where I think our starting 11 is. I'll keep Bournemouth's team the same, obviously just changing Brooks for Semenyo for now. And as I change the phases of play, you're going to keep on seeing Semenyo coming in, but I'm going to take it off. I think there's going to be rotation with one eye not only on rotating players because of fatigue, but also because of the semi-final that we've got against Man City the next 3 or 4 days after that, where I think Eddie Howe's going to want to play, you can call the first team players. So let's start from the back. It's a little bit easier for me to do it that way. I think perhaps Ramsdale starts. And let me know you guys' thoughts. Who would be in your lineup? I'll be curious to know. So I think Ramsdale starts. Now, interesting. I think in the back, I'm gonna. Shah is obviously injured. As I said, God willing, he has a speedy recovery, and Botman will come in. Now, we don't have Shah. I don't know what's going on with Lascelles. So what does Eddie Howe do with Chow? Does he keep him on and rotate him later on in the game? I have no idea. Even though I've got Lascelles here, I have no idea what's going on with him. The latest I heard is that Eddie Howe said he's not fit. So what does that mean? Who's gonna be there? Who's gonna play? And I can't think of anyone in terms of who he might have. Dan Burner's obviously off. What does that mean for us? So there's a bit of there's a bit of a worry there in terms of what we do. Is it going to be? Is it going to be Miley again? But in terms of Hall, I'll keep that one open. Here's what I think will happen. Well, now let me just as I'm talking to you guys. So I think Trippier comes back in, and so does Livramento. So Trippier come back in at right back with Livramento at left back. I'm going to bring Miley back in at one moment, but I need to figure out the midfield because it's an interesting one. Now, for sure, I think Joe Linton will get rested. I think Ramsey comes in, kind of what we saw against the Burnley at St James's Park. Tonali, God bless him, and his newborn and his wife. They've had a child, so doing really well. That's not why I'm taking them off, by the way. But I do think that he will be rested, and there's a potential for Miley to play there, but there's also a potential for Miley to be in the centre back area. So let me see. So Gomes has to be rested. We have to rest him. He has to be rested. He's just played 114 minutes. And even before that, he was clocking up crazy mileage. So I do think Gomes has to be rested with Willock on the right on those areas there. Then we have obviously our front three. Now, by the grace of God, Jacob Murphy is fit. I didn't expect to see him on the bench, but he is. And I think there's a possibility. There's a couple possibilities here. We've got a Park Soo-young who could start this game as well. Let me know. Jacob Murphy for Barnes. Yes. Does Wissa start this game or does Voltemada? And I think for me, this depends on who Eddie Howe wants to play against City. Would Eddie Howe want Wissa to play against City, or would he want Voltemada to play against City? Now, in the 2-1 victory, it was Voltemada who played against City. It's a close one. It really is a close one for me in terms of who plays. It's so close, guys. I don't know. Gordon, I think, needs to be rested as well. But obviously with Barnes rested for Jacob Murphy on the bench, there's another situation here. Does he play Park Soo-young, the young Korean player? Does Park Soo-young get his chance? There's something there. There's a possibility there. Or does he start with Gordon and put Park Soo-young? Does he start with Gordon and substitute him in the 60th minute, for instance? There's that possibility as well. But this is a close one. I think Malik Chow needs to be rested, but there's nobody to rest him. The only other possibility that could happen is Malik Chow is rested, Miley goes right, and probably Tonali plays instead, and then they're rotated. There's a rotation where you have in the second half where maybe Chow comes on. I don't know, but I'm a bit uneasy about something in my gut about doing that. I'm a bit uneasy. Let me know, what would you guys do? What would you guys do? There's just so much in this. Adrian Pickett says, I think both of us will chop and chip. Oh, I read that, sorry. Adrian says, Gordon, Wissa and Murphy front three. Gordon, Wissa and Murphy front three. Gordon, Wissa and Murphy front three. Yeah, probably, isn't it? But what do you think about what do you think about I think the midfield, what do you think happens here? Because The only other thing I can see happening is either Charles stays and then you got a bit of a problem for the Man City game, or you rest him. And what happens is, if you want to rotate in the game, you either put Joe Linton at rotate Joe Linton for Botman, for instance, because you've got no other alternatives. There really is limited alternatives at the moment because of the injuries in our centre back areas, and we've already got midfielders playing right backs in different places as well. Just looking at what we've got available, it's going to have to be some academy players, maybe even Alex Murphy and the others. I've got Gordon Wissa and Murphy for now. Um, and Tanal, and there'll be rotations. It's not going to be pretty, but this is probably I think this might be the best we can do. Let me know what you guys think. All right, so Bournemouth. Love this high press. You're going to see it here. Again, they've changed 100 players again. But or just Semenyo. But let's take off Semenyo, put on Brooks. Brooks. Brooks, where are you? Remy, Croupier, Watara, Angel, Ben, Adam. Where's Brooks? I can't find Brooks, guys. I'll put Unal for now just because I can't find Brooks. Yeah, that's annoying. I can't find Brooks. But anyway, so the key for Bournemouth is them pressing in almost like in a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-4 formation. What it allows them to do is they'll want to dictate who they'd want the ball to go to. I'll be curious to know who they prefer the ball to go to. Would it be Livramento or would it be Trippier? It wouldn't matter in terms they would dictate. So, say for instance, they wanted to avoid the ball going to Trippier for whatever reason. What they would do really, really well here is, say Pope's obviously got the ball. What Newcastle obviously love to do is have the split defenders here, Livramento pushing up, Trippier pushing up. You might get a double pivot or a single pivot here of a Tonali or Ramsey coming back in here, and a Willock here, and Wissa here, and either Gordon and Murphy in these type of areas here. What they would try to do is they'll push up really, really high, and they would block the passing channels to Miley via Evan Nielsen and Tavernier like this, and they'll try to get the ball out to Botman to then force the ball out to Livramento, for instance. And what they'll love to do is in these situations right here is create this situation. Is to box the player in that situation, and then push everybody out. I remember they got really, really high turnovers. They had number ones for it, and this is how they'll try to dictate the play and force the team to go where they want them to go, and that way they win the ball high up and try and get it and try and get a turnover and hit us on the transition like this. It's going to be really, really important from Newcastle's point of view what we do. And as you guys mentioned, there's going to be lots of chopping and change. I'm not sure about Bournemouth's team and who they're likely to play, so I haven't said it's going to be interesting in terms of individual battles. Adrian says, Miley has certainly shown some press resistance recently. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Really, really phenomenal. I prefer him to play in the midfield here, but our centre-back situation is insane at the moment. And Eddie Howe said, obviously, that injuries will determine whether they go into the market. Well, they're going to have to go into the market. If Lascelles is fit, the last I heard from from Eddie Howe on this is that Lascelles isn't fit. If Lascelles is fit and good to go, it solves 1,000 problems. Or it sort of solves 1,000 problems because now I could put Miley instead of Tonali in into the midfield. But at the moment, it doesn't. But what we do have as a result of having a Miley at centre back, which is insane, by the way, we do have ball playing centre backs. And that's the key here for us. We do have ball playing centre back. So with the Ramsey and others who are good at getting the ball, who are also good at kind of getting the ball under pressure, you will have opportunities against Bournemouth for real to kind of get into these kind of one-on-one situations. It's going to be these one-on-one battles with Truffet and Gordon, Woods and Diakate or Mihailovic, or Milos Salovic, and others as well. So there will be the opportunity. Also with the likes of Willock with his ball carrying ability. Adams, I don't even know, is Adams even fit? Let me just double check. I've got Adams on here, but is Adams even fit? Is Adams fit? I swear he just had surgery. I've got Adams on there. Yeah, he's not fit. So Adams isn't fit. So they've got a bit of an injury crisis themselves. Who's going to play for Brooklyn? for Bournemouth? I haven't got a clue. But Tyler Adams is not fit. Sheesh. I know Ben Doak isn't fit. Who would I put there? Cliver isn't fit. Yeesh. Christie, is Christie fit? I think Christie's not fit. Maybe Smith, maybe Cook. Maybe Cook. Maybe Cook. So it's going to have an effect on them. Like, how are they going to? I'm so curious about what they do, Bournemouth. I know they're going to do the same thing and press really, really high. And it's going to be these kind of individual battles here. There's an opportunity for us to really kind of have the ability to play at the back, because if you do get Willock in these type of situations, he has the ability to carry the ball and to hold off attacks as well, for instance. And what you'll get then is these type of situations again forming up where we're running against, pushing the defensive line back. They're going to leave space in the back as well. That's going to be key for us. I thought Leeds that really managed themselves really well, primarily because they did really well in terms of winning the ball up high. I think we're going to be ready for it this time. I hope so anyway. That's going to be key. The other is Bournemouth in kind of going back to the pressing as well. Gonna have to ignore Semenyo and Adams here. They're not going to be playing, but it's always coming back for some reason. It's so annoying. I'll keep Adams there just for a minute, but just know that it's not Adams. Semenyo, who now. So they're going to be those individual battles as well. Again, I'm not sure if I prefer it to be Miley, but I just don't know. There is opportunities for us to go long as well in these type of areas, but without Joe Linton, we'll find it harder to win the ball in these type of areas, so we might not do that. But again, even with the ball, what we have now with Livramento, either left back or right back, is that the ability here of a ball carrying right back. So this time, even if Livramento gets the ball, for instance, in these type of situations, he's not going to necessarily pass it straight away. He has the ability to carry the ball forward with him like this. And in carrying the ball like this, what that then does is push the entire Bournemouth team back as well, hopefully isolating their forwards as well. So you're going to have those type of situations being created as well. And the triangles of Gordon, Livramento, and Ramsey can be created as well, with Wissa getting into these gaps, maybe Tonali, or probably Tonali staying back actually, with Willock pushing forward as well. So, the way I'm kind of seeing it, it could be a really kind of open game. Our own kind of build-up play, in terms of trying to build out from the back. You can have Tonali dropping in and building up from the back as well and carrying the ball out, not necessarily having to just rely on either long passes or anything else like that. It kind of opens up the play. So even if they want to block off passes to Trippier, for instance, um, you'll have the ability of a Tonali either getting on the ball as well, bringing the ball out with him. Tavernier is really, really good though, so you have to look out for him. So these are going to be key to kind of to see how we bring the ball out. That's going to be massive for us. I'm curious to see. I am curious to see how Bournemouth deal with. Let me bring them back. I got a word from the JLA developer who said I'm using an old version, so I need to go onto the website to get a new version, to get an updated version. So we'll see. I've got Arsenal here for some reason. So let's see. Back to Bournemouth 4-3-3. Now Newcastle. Some of the stuff that we use, for instance, in terms of our attack, so annoying to get these players. You have to change all the players again. I'm going to just do it manually. But let me just get you guys send in your scores and your predictions. What I'm curious though, let me just get the players back. Botman, because I want to just explore the attack before we move on. Voltamada, Willock, Ramsdale. I'm going to give my own predictions as well. I won't be surprised to see Park Soo-young or maybe another academy player come in, to be honest. It'd be great if Osola was fit, honestly. That would be really, really good if Osola was fit. But even when we're attacking, having Miley and Botman at the back, again, I'm assuming Miley, but I really don't want him to be there. It's gonna have to be somebody though. Ramsey, Joe Linton, Wisser, Barnes, Murphy, Gordon probably stays. Hall goes. Livramento. I should have just done it manually. Livramento, Gordon, Ramsey, Willock. So 1, 2, 3. Where's Trippier? Trips. Hopefully Trippier, I think, is going to be key. His leadership is going to be key as well. There's going to be a lot of chopping and changing for us as well. But we've got players who have played together for a very long time. So hopefully that we can manage that. But us in attack, I think if Tonali stays on, if it's Tonali, he's going to be key in kind of ensuring that we handle the transition fairly well against Eva Nilsson and Krupi, who are really good kind of in terms of breaking out for them as well. We have to look out for Krupi, who's a really, really good finisher inside and outside the box as well. But otherwise, when we're in attack, what's interesting is obviously Livramento is right-footed, and he does not like to pass with. Well, you think Alawi might play? People really rate him. I haven't seen him, so I haven't included him. But I'd be really curious to see how he does. He likes to cut in his right, so it's going to be interesting how. I want to see Livramento use his left foot a little bit more, because there's going to be key for him to be able to get around the back as well. So that's going to be interesting. What's good is that Ramsey's really good at getting into these pockets of spaces, which either allows Gordon to go out on the outside like this and allows the likes of Livramento and Ramsey to get in at the back and force Bournemouth to defend on the back as well. Those type of situations. But also on the right-hand side with Trippier, who's a little bit less dynamic, shall I say, than Livramento. You're going to see a lot of these type of crosses coming in. With Trippier here, you're going to see Murphy go on the inside a lot more. So it's going to be important for Willock, who's not known for these kind of Bruno passes where you get the cut back to Bruno and he gets these passes on the inside, maybe to a Murphy or a Trippier. But maybe that's going to be key. Can Trippier get into these situations? Not Trippier, Murphy tuck in like this alongside Wissa and whoever else might be supporting him. So that's going to be key on the right-hand side as well. Can we get the ball off there as well? I think we're going to suffer a little bit airily in attack without Joe Linton. So that's going to be curious how we do that. It's going to be really interesting. But let me know what you guys think. So much chopping and changing. I don't obviously Semenyo. I've got Semenyo here. He's not playing. Tyler isn't playing. Bournemouth have got so many injuries themselves. They played a lot of games as well. Who's going to play for them? It's going to be a really interesting game. And it's really kind of hard to. I'm trying to get the principles of how the teams play. That's the only way I can think of kind of breaking it down. But let me know from you guys' perspective. What do you think? What do you think are going to be? What do you think is going to be? Let me send in your scores. Send in your predictions. Sorry, send your predictions. Let me know who you think is going to be in the starting lineup. I'm just downloading something, so I want to make sure that I'll be able to share with you guys later. But do you think Miley goes at the back? Do you think does or does Malik Charles stay? I wouldn't. Does Malik Charles stay? I wouldn't want him to if he needs the rest, especially when we've got a really important semi-final against Man City. And I do think that we have a chance to beat Man City. They're really struggling lately, and I think Eddie would want to be able to put out the best, fittest side in that game as well. We want to continue definitely in the cup as well. But it's going to be difficult at this point in terms of trying to get a full squad out there with so many injuries. Adrian, you say 2-2. So if it's going to go to, do you think it's going to go to penalties? Let me know, guys. I think I said I predicted penalties on the Spurs King show yesterday. I think I might have. So I think that's a real reality, to be honest. And I'm kind of thinking along your lines, Adrian. But as I've been talking about it and just realizing 60% of their match winner and Semenyo, 60% of their goals and assists is gone. They're going to struggle. I think they're going to struggle to do that. To be honest. I think they're going to struggle to get those players over the line, to be honest, to get those type of goals. And I think it gives us an opportunity to score. Adrian says, is it a straight pens now, FA Cup? Yeah, it's straight pens. No replays, no extra time, thank God. It's just straight pens. I'm just mulling it over. I'm thinking, I want to say that I think we can win. I really think that we can win. And I think we can win within the game itself. I think the Leeds game has given us a good, almost like a practice match, can I say, where of playing against a high intensity game, but it's also worn out. Hopefully, it's worn out Bournemouth a little bit as well. Big up Bobby's in the backstage too. Going to invite him in a moment. In fact, let me get. He's there. Brilliant. So, guys, while us send in your predictions, whilst I get our friend of the channel, highly demanded, highly knowledgeable, and full of absolute wisdom and knowledge all about the game. My guy, our friend of the channel, Bobby. Bobby, how are you doing, sir?
I am well now after all those compliments. How are you, sir?
Living life to the full, honestly. And yeah, we had a remarkable victory yesterday. I don't know if you had a chance to see. I know you had your own game as well.
I did, but I caught the tail end of it, and I followed it along with Jordy Dredd, man. And he was losing it. He almost quit YouTube yesterday.
Seriously, was it that bad for him?
Man, he was finished. I think after they took the lead, he was just done, man.
No,
Where did you watch it? You were on TV?
Yeah, I was watching it on TV as well, but I had to be so like not calm, like because my heart was going. I could feel. I was like, I'm getting too old for this.
Right.
Honestly, it was crazy. I don't know how much you've caught of it. I'm about to give my prediction for the Bournemouth game, and I was gonna before I give my predictions. It's good to get your outside point of view. You would have heard, obviously, Semenyo has now signed for Man City. Now officially signed for Man City, so he won't be in this game.
Right.
That's 60% of their goals and assists. They've also had a pretty hard game against Tottenham, even though they won 3-2. I'm expecting changes. They've got a lot of injuries. We've got a few injuries of ourselves. What's your thoughts on the game, and what's your predictions, if anything?
Where are they on the table right now? They're
15th, I think.
Right. Yes, that is true. I'm now looking at my performance table. Look, Bournemouth, I think, is one of these teams who is due to catch up with what the manager has been doing. And I know this is a theme that you like to follow, right? So, I mean, based on my analysis, I would tell you that they're 4 places off where they should be.
Yeah. That's what the table says as well, yeah.
All right. So in terms of where they are on the points table, there are probably 4 places less than where there should be. Like Newcastle, and we'll see that in a minute. Eddie Howe's team was similarly trailing him for much of the season, and I'll be able to show the audience in a minute that Eddie Howe is now probably only 1 place off where he should be based on the math. So Bournemouth has been, I think, underperforming. They've not been as clinical in front of goal as they probably should be. And that included Semenyo. So the question becomes, he has been 60%, but I think recently he has been underperforming. So net, I don't think his departure directly impacts this game, given where his head has been.
Okay.
But no doubt it weakens Bournemouth. I mean, their depth is not, it's being shown in terms of where they are on the table, right? They just don't have the quality in attack. So I think this should be pretty routine for the Magpies. Maybe a 2-0.
When you give these confident predictions, Bobby.
Well, there's rationale behind it. I was just talking my face off.
No, for sure. I love it. For us, like we have a generally fit team, but the concentration of our injuries are at centre back, and we need a lot of rotation. You can see I've got Miley next to Botman. You're thinking, what's Miley doing next to Botman? Well, Miley had to go centre back because Shah got injured, and Malik Chow needs the rotation as well. And we've got the Man City semi-final coming up as well. So I think Eddie Howe's going to try and keep as much of his powder dry for that game. Right. But I think Bournemouth also have to make changes. And I love your prediction. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Newcastle win. I would prefer Wissa to start. I'm going to say Wissa and Gordon. I'm going to go for Wissa and Gordon goals as well. So that's my predictions. I think Adrian gave a 2-2. So he thinks it's going to go down to penalties as well. You've given a 2-0 or 1-0 or a 2-0.
Is Tyler Adams fit?
No, he's not.
Does luck, yeah. I mean, once he's like people talk about Semenyo, but you have to respect
he's
him.
Vital.
He is, and I think a lot of this underperformance probably is actually due to him being absent.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to affect both teams really. But yeah, that's it. So that's the predictions, guys. We've done the reaction to the Leeds game. We've done the preview for the Bournemouth game. This game is going to be highly. It's going to be a frantic game, I think, as well. But I back us to get it over the line and get into the forefront of the FA Cup. But now we are going to the we're going to a significant part of the show now where we're going to be rating and talking about Premier League managers, who's performing, who's underperforming. We know that Bobby Fairview has put together himself, created his own table with XG. So we're going to talk about it here. I want to get you guys' views and opinions. We're going to be talking managers, systems, but we're going to be focusing on obviously are the managers performing? Are the players not performing? All this in context as well. Now, Bobby, you sent me your thing, but
I sent you
StreamYard
two
is
tables. Yep,
yeah,
go
you
on.
sent me two tables, but StreamYard is funny. It wants me to say like it can only take on the PDF files, and the way it's how
How
do I
about
say it?
Excel? How about Excel? Can you,
It doesn't let me save it on Excel.
would you let me to
Uh,
email the Excel file so you can PDF them? Is
yeah,
that easier?
or I can, Let me see if this works because maybe I might be overthinking it. Maybe there's a way I can. Let me see if it's a bit too. Let me see if this would work. No, not this. Let me see if this would work. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Where art thou? Not that one. There's a screen. Oh, I don't want to do it like that though. No, I don't want to do it like that. Send me the Excel one and see if I can get it on because I thought I can get it onto this screen. Because what happens is, um, it doesn't let me save it otherwise. But yeah, we get to talk about your manager. Or
Sure,
did
sure.
you have to? Well, I don't know. Are you going to have? I don't know how you'll do it, but I don't know if you've had an opportunity to have a study of Liam Rosinia.
To some extent, yeah. As much as I wanted to see, I was
What's
not really encouraged to look any further.
Oh wow! So whilst we're kind of putting this together, what's your
Sure,
initial thoughts on it?
but is Wobo Jog in the chat because he specially requested that I come on and discuss this topic. I'm disappointed that I'm not seeing it, but I'm sure he's gonna listen or replay. So big up to him and big up to Adrian Pickett and all the guys.
Yeah,
Um, you know my feelings on Maresca, okay?
yeah,
And this chat is very familiar. I think you
yeah,
were a lot more sympathetic to him, obviously, than I was.
yeah.
And I think when we look at the manager performance table, and I've actually sent you two files, one from game week 19, which was the halfway point of the season, obviously.
Hmm.
And I thought that, and that's when I proposed to you at the time, hey, let's connect, let's do a half season review. I've got my manager performance table. Now, since then, two managers have been sacked. So to replace those names with the new managers would be a little bit unfair. So I've had to go back to the format of using the team names, but the substance is the same, right? But going back to Maresca, we're going to show shortly that um, he always hovered at the higher end in the top four at least of any XG table. Sorry, no. Sorry, he was kind of lower down in the XG tables, but when you actually offset it with actual goal difference, weight it, in other words, you would realize that he's actually a top four, top three manager. That's what my math was showing. I always knew that the fixtures were a little bit dodgy for Chelsea this year, and this is the first time actually. This is the first year I've actually spent this much time analyzing the fixture list. And that's because for some reason, all of our home games against difficult teams and etc. were all front-ended this season. So the back end of our season is actually horrific. And anybody who follows me on Twitter would have seen that since about October, November, I have been saying that Maresca has to leave. Not that he's
Yes.
going to be fired, he has to leave. And here's why. His stock peaked, so he had to sell. That's the best analogy I can give. He knew that the only place for his stock to go from there was down.
Right.
And to maximize the value of his next contract, he had to present himself as a victim. What people had not been appreciating, or what I have been publishing and tracking very carefully, is the fact that he was at least 6 to 8 points behind the equivalent fixtures last year. So in other words, if you adjust for the promoted teams and the relegated teams, look at those fixtures last year and compare where he was underperforming the actual points table. So he would have been like -6 on last season's opponents for the equivalent fixtures and -5 in the points table.
Right.
After spending 492 million, that is unacceptable.
Right.
And to pretend that he had no role in that spending is absurd, because the owners are saying that there's no player that would be sold or purchased without his say so, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let us not absolve him of the responsibility for last summer's transfer window. Sure, he must have been one vote among 5 sporting directors, because we're the only club who can field an entire team of sporting directors actually to play a match if we had to, right? So his vote was diluted, but they still claim that they would not move forward without him sanctioning it, right? Particularly sales. So he had to get out of there. Particularly when you studied the way the fixtures were going to cluster, I knew that by the end of January, we would be in a top 10 race. Not even top 5 or UCL
top 10 race.
Chelsea is heading for a top 10 race. Look at where the points table, we're not far off. We're one game away from 14th or something insane like this. Okay. And so what did we decide to do? Well, sorry, I don't even know that Chelsea had a choice, because there's no manager that wants this job. Anybody that comes into it is a dead man walking. And they know that. And it does nothing for their reputations, right? So you had the club now pretending it was feeling out other managers. ITKs were constantly reporting how they got turned down by Xavi and various other managers. So it became obvious after a while that Liam Senior was going to be the replacement. We always kind of knew that that's what they wanted to do, but this was just a bit premature to do it. A, in terms of him and his experience, and B, in terms of how Strasbourg itself is trying to smooth over and relations with its fan base. Yeah. Because remember, what's happening at Strasbourg is that they're claiming we're just a satellite for Chelsea. We no longer have our own identity. And you've got this ultra group that's staging protests. The ownership is coming down hard on them. Anybody who unfurls a banner gets banned from the stadium. Wow. So they use, the efforts to suppress the Ultra Boys 90 in Strasbourg are extreme. It's a dictatorship. Yeah. And the guy who ran the club and owned the club before, he is probably the only senior leader of either Chelsea or Strasbourg who has survived under Clear Lake. And the Ultra Boys have always been accusing him of being, a puppet of Eghbali. Right. And so to do this now, to yank this kid out of the manager's post there and bring him to Chelsea, just reinforces their point. And so as a PR stunt, they pretended the old owner was ready to resign, but obviously he's still there. He's fully bought. Okay. And I know, so Strasbourg fans are very upset. Chelsea fans are saying, well, why do we even need this guy? He spent €100 million, which is ridiculous for that league. And he's in 7th place and firmly in seventh place. It's not even close, right? So why are we bringing a guy who cannot even succeed in that dead league and bring him to Chelsea and expect that we're going to do things? So we're owned by former debt collectors. These are high stakes gamblers. They take risks. They think their risk will pay off. We've seen 4 years of it failing. And here we are taking an unqualified manager again to replace another unqualified manager and expecting a better result. So I've said a lot there, but those are my thoughts on the situation.
Well,
and
it got me
in the top 10 race.
Yeah, wow. And you're expecting it by the end of January?
I expect that we will. No, we got some easy fixtures coming up. But the problem that we have right now is suspensions and the fixture congestion. So it's kind of like every team is a threat right now. And to be 3 points off of 14 for wherever, and we got this new kid coming in from League One who can't even handle himself there. I'm not optimistic.
Right.
But people would argue that the project needs to fail first before it's successful. I've got some particular views on that. I've shared them on this channel, but they've evolved quite a bit. I've done a lot more study around what I think needs to happen at Chelsea, but that's a whole show in of itself.
Looking forward to it. Do you want to? So I've got your. Which one do you want me to show first? The manager's performance table or the weighted table?
Let's start there. No, let's start with the manager's performance table because that would have been that's game week 19.
Yeah. So by the way, let me just give a big up to Aaron, who's in the chat as well. God bless you, Aaron. Yes, absolutely. They score 3, we score 4. We did it for King Kev. Absolutely. Get well soon. Yeah. Praying for healing for King Kev as well. Obviously got diagnosed with cancer, so I'll pray for him and his family. Yeah. Indeed. Aaron says, still getting over the high of yesterday. There was a lot that infuriated me about the game, but to win, especially 4-3 in the circumstances, was special, especially with the news on King Kev. Absolutely. So yeah, please do take it from the top, Bobby. Let us know, like, to remind folks, and some people won't be familiar with this either, what this table is about. And I know it's obviously game week 19. Obviously, we've done game week 20, so it's just a game behind, really. So it's not.
No. We just completed game week 21. So here's how I would like to. So I've sent you 2 files.
Okay.
So I've sent you both game week 19 and game week 21, which has just concluded tonight. So actually, that's why I didn't catch the beginning of your show. I was busy trying to get game week 21 ready for the show. So what I'm proposing to do. Well, first, let me give the folks just a quick update as to what the table is showing and how the math works. So we'll start there, and then we will do a kind of a half-year review, just looking at where this math actually ranked the managers before Maresca and Amorim were sacked. Yeah. And did do a bit of a half-year, if you like. But then the thing about this table is it useful for analyzing current performance, or does it have predictive ability? So what we'll do then is to pick up the game week 21 table to see how it's actually played out 2 weeks after, two matches afterwards, if you like, right? To just see the predictive quality of this table. And we can do it. And we can do it. If you look at where Eddie Howe is, for example, and where he's going to end up, it could be really interesting. But as you can see there, Eddie Howe was actually six places. He's actually 6 places worse in this game week 90 in the actual points table. So if you, I think this is when you guys were in. You must have been in 13th place during game week 19.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what this table would have been showing is that in game week 19, Eddie Howe, although he was in the points table at 13th place, Newcastle was, I was saying that Eddie Howe should be higher up the table by at least 6 points.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that when you roll forward to game week 21, we'll see actually, is he higher than 13th after all, as the table was predicting? So we will be able to test the predictive quality of the table by looking at it this way.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
I know that this table has been giving you a lot of comfort, particularly over your hard times, where you were looking for the nearest straw to explain to your audience why things were going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the format. So let me first start by explaining what this table does. Very briefly, we had a whole show on this. It was complex. Let me see if I can simplify it. So, guys, what we're saying is goal difference is the best. It's the closest statistic that shows you where the league table is, right? So largely, the rankings in an EPL table tend to mirror the goal difference. Right, so goal difference is closer to the actual table position than XG. XG doesn't really reflect the current table. Does that make sense in terms of how I presented that? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So if goal difference gives you the best reflection of the points table, but XG gives you a good sense of how the team actually is producing, how can we make sure that we marry outcomes and process and combine them into a metric that gives us a fair view of what the teams are actually doing, both on the output side. So what we do is we give it 30% output, which is goal difference. And then we give it 70% XG or expected goal difference. So in other words, I take expected goals less expected goals against to create an expected goal difference. So it's 70% expected goal difference. Sorry, it's 66%. So I'm 2/3, 1/3. So I'm two-thirds. I'm 2/3 expected goal difference plus 1/3 actual goal difference to come up with a blended goal difference to present this table. And so that's where I'm trying to combine process and output quality. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah. So you're trying to mix, as for the audience, you're trying to mix. Obviously, XG is for the folks folks not interested. XG is like the chance, is the quality of the chances. So it's not the actual goals. So they'll say, for the chances you created for this game, you should have scored 1 or 2 goals, but you ended up having 0 goals, for instance, actual goals. So therefore, you're underperforming your XG. You're underperforming the goals you should have scored. Or the opposite, you scored 1 or 2 goals, but you really didn't create enough to score those 2 goals. You probably scored a wonder goal or a hit off somebody's, backside and whooped and got in. Like, it wasn't because you got a good offensive structure, if that makes sense. And what Bobby's done is use the XG or the quality of chances and blended it and put it together with actual goals. So more 2/3 for the XG, so for the created ones, and 1/3 for the actual goals as well. So you got both. So you can. What the idea is to hopefully trying to eliminate the, how do we say, the variability between XG and actual goals themselves.
It does that, but what it also does is so a manager could be doing great process and a team just missing chances, or a team could be on a hot streak, and we know that's simply not going to last forever. Or that's what they were saying about Aston Villa.
Yeah.
So it tones down the XG by saying, look, XG is not really based in reality in terms of outcomes. So we want to balance it. But as I said, Emery is a great example of what we're trying to do here, right? So if we were to look at the XG table itself, Emery is probably in relegation form.
Yeah, he is.
League 19.
He is.
Right? But because I put actual goals into this analysis, it brings him a bit up to 12. So in other words, it rewards him for some of his output. And so he will be reflected here in the table a little bit higher than the XG table. But he's not going to be in 3rd place, right? Because the XG is saying, well, Skipper, this is not going to continue forever. Right. Now, who is also really interesting is Regis Labrie. And
Sunderland, yeah.
Yes, Sunderland. Now, I think what is happening here is that, again, I don't know why David Moyes is -7. There's something a little bit off in this table, but I think Moyes and the Braves numbers are a little bit mixed up. But again, he's way higher in this table than we're showing here, right? You got a question?
If you look at the like XG for Sunderland, for instance, they're like second from bottom in the league. Everton are 16th.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's how they've got it on FOTMob, for instance. The FOTMob XG, that's what they've got them at the moment.
But if you had been following me, you would see that I actually had Keith Andrews pretty high up all season.
Yes,
he's a really good manager, actually.
Yeah,
right. I mean, we need to see him over time, but he's another interesting character, right? Glasner, again, another coach suffering from the fact that his strikers are not delivering. He's relying on one striker. The other guys are not particularly clinical. As soon as that one striker loses form, the entire team is in trouble. But Glasner,
Gahey could go as well. So I was going to say Gahey can go as well. Like Gahey's could go to Man City.
Yeah. So he's going to lose personnel again, but his process has been strong. Right.
Yes.
So I continue to have him featuring pretty high on the table. But as I said, Enzo Maresca is where he was. Amorim, from my perspective, again, was always a good manager. But this is where you can't actually rely on data only, right? I mean, how many times have Manchester United fans been really frustrated about the fact that they're playing against 10 men with 5 defenders on the pitch? Right? That is infuriating. And then when you draw the game, drop points. I mean, they should be at least at this point in time 6 points ahead of Chelsea. But just the 3 draws against weak teams recently with him again and his obstinance, right? These system managers, they're robots. And this is why people like Eddie Howe are becoming really attractive, right? Because these are problem-solving gaffers who will look at a situation and know how to tactically set up his team for the situation. Amorim and these guys against 10 men, and he's still doing the same shit, right? And dropping points, right? So he's a problem. Maresca is something similar. Look, I was really hard on Maresca. He is. I know you're gonna be sympathetic and you're gonna say, "Look, he was getting results," blah 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 blah. But I just can't deal with that inverting stuff. Okay, I can't deal with wingers with their heads down, trying to beat 2 men. I mean, it's like schoolboy football. Okay, I cannot deal with packing a midfield that's already congested, right, to create a box or whatever it is he's trying to do. These things, again, were as infuriating for me as Amorim is to United fans. But look, the math was the math, and that was the view at the time. So if you can just flip now to the game week 21 table.
I don't know if I've got game week 21 table. I looked on the emails. I didn't see game week 21.
So there should have been 2 attachments in that I sent you in that email.
Yeah, I got the weighted one, and I got the.
It's not going to have the managers. It's going to. So if you launch them with the team names.
If I what? Sorry.
So there are 2 attachments. If you check the second one, you'll see game week 21. Are you looking at the email with the Excel file?
Yeah. So I got the email with the Excel. So it's got 2 attachments. It's got manager performance table.
And then do the weighted performance table. Game week 21.
Oh, okay. So that's weighted performance. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I got that one. Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah.
Let me just take this off. Put this on. Yeah. So
because the managers got sacked, it kind of made no sense putting manager names. So I just put the team names in this instance.
And just guys in the chat, if there's any of the managers that you want us to talk about, do let us know in the chat as well. If there's any managers you want to talk about, and if you've got any questions about Eddie Howe, obviously, and any other teams or Chelsea, do let us know in the chat. We'll talk about them. So go on, Bobby.
Yeah, I saw Aaron Kane's note there, and big up to him. I actually didn't watch enough of United to know that he switched. I just saw him playing. I listened to Saeed in the background, heard him losing his mind. So I went based on that. But anyway, so as I said, guys, managers got sacked, so it was kind of weird to put McFarlane here in fourth place. I don't even know who coached Manchester United in their game this week either. But this is how it's panning out. And as I said, I've always been giving Eddie Howe lots of credit. I always felt that he was way behind in the points table than his efforts.
So, Bobby, can I ask just quickly, is there a difference between the earlier table, the manager's performance table, and the weighted performance table? Is it just the game weeks that's different?
Game weeks are different, and the club name instead of a manager name is the club name.
Okay,
that's the only
okay,
difference.
cool.
Everything else.
So the formula is the same, like the
Everything
two-thirds.
is the same.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Sorry.
Yeah. The formula is the exact same. So it's showing you the exact same thing. The only thing that is game week 21, and you'd be doing team names instead of manager names.
Okay, cool.
Right. So there's an apples to apples. So as you can see on the right hand side, what I'm saying is that Eddie Howe is now only one place off where he probably should be. Are you guys in sixth or fifth?
Sixth.
Okay, so right. So I'm actually saying now that Eddie Howe, right. So Eddie Howe he should really be in fifth. So that's why I have that one there, right? So he's one better in this table than he is in the actual table. Liverpool is 2 point places worse than they should be. That's what the right hand column shows, right? That's a comparison to the actual points table. So you will see now. Let's go down to Sunderland.
So where should Liverpool be? Where should Liverpool be? Do you think?
Liverpool should be there. So they should be in sixth. So I am saying they should be in sixth. So what I'm showing here is where I think they should be.
Okay. Yeah.
The right-hand column shows where they're off from the points table.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay.
Right. So Liverpool, I am showing them as they're a sixth place team, but showing them in sixth here means that they're two less than where they actually are in the points table, which is fourth.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
What I'm also showing is that Chelsea is 4 places better in this table than they are in the points table because they're actually in eighth. So Chelsea, as I said, is heading for a 10th place fight, right? Because right now I'm showing them any number that's positive on the right hand side means that the team is underperforming the manager's efforts by whatever that position is. So right now, so Chelsea's process this year, an output to some extent means that they really should be in fourth place for their efforts, but the points table shows them in eighth.
The points should the eighth, and Newcastle are sixth, but the points table shows them as fifth, so they should be. So
no, the opposite. So Newcastle. This is why this table is difficult, man. So I am showing them as. I think Newcastle is a fifth place team.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the points table
shows them as sixth.
I have them positive one, so I have them one place better than they are in the points table.
Okay, so Liverpool are currently fourth, but they should be sixth.
They should be a sixth place team, correct?
Okay.
Sunderland should be a 17th place team, and I'm sure I'm sure that Newcastle fans are delighted to hear that. so at some point in time, they're really a 17th place team according to my math.
Right.
Villa is a 10th place team according to my math.
Yeah. Right.
so that's where we are. So that's how I'm. So it's not going to punish Villa as much as the XG table does, because we're actually giving them credit, 1/3 credit for actual goals scored and actual goals prevented, right? So by working that in there, you come to a fairer view of where they should be. And as I said, Newcastle is I think Newcastle is going to finish the season in fifth. That's what this table is saying.
What I wanted to ask you as well, because we're talking about different teams, and it feels like there's different reasons why different teams are in different areas. So so for instance, Man United are third here, right? But they're currently seventh behind us. And because I guess what I'm saying is the reason obviously you mentioned Amorim because he's kind of sounds like he's the problem, or he was the problem and the solution at the same time because he had he had the process that was working, but he's also the reason why it didn't work.
Correct.
Right? So
So the eye test reason versus the data reason, it might be a way of looking at it. We can see it and we can see why it's not working. But in terms of chance creation, he's actually not bad.
He's very good at chance creation. And defensively, if anything, oppositions have been overperforming against Man United.
There we go. So he's not a bad manager.
He's
a terrible man manager, probably.
He's brilliant, and probably not very good at how do they say, managing up. I think that was an issue for him.
Would you say that? I actually thought he was excellent at it, the way Ineos defended him a couple months ago. I was shocked at his latest behavior.
I think the latest behavior, the public problem. This is just me speculating, because essentially what I think is Jason Wilcox was he's his boss, right? And every sporting director has different relationships with their managers in different clubs, right? You guys are a bit different, Man United are different. I think Jason Wilcox was asking him to consider making certain changes, like stuff that you're saying, like don't put on defenders on chasing the team, put on a forward on stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Ruben Amorim alluded to this in his press conference, saying, we shouldn't just make decisions because Gary Neville tells us to. So, who's he aiming at? Gary Neville, but also whoever's asking him to make changes among his guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, and this is the part where I think he's 41 years old. He's not too far from my age, for instance. And this is where I think he's lack of experience, where, okay, your manager's telling you something. You've got two options, reject it or accept it. Or, and in either case, show a bit of wisdom. Even if you don't like what they're saying, show wisdom in how you approach the subject. Maybe do what they ask you to do, right?
There was no reason to talk in the press about it.
Right,
There's
exactly.
Nothing to be achieved.
Because what could happen? You do what they do, and if you're right, then it won't work, and then everyone has to shut up, right?
Yep.
If you're wrong and it works, you still win because your team's winning, and your higher ups think, okay, we've got a guy that listens to us, and you keep your job and you keep it moving. That's all that happens.
Did he want to keep his job, though? Could be a good, interesting question.
That's the other thing. Did he want to? Did the Maresca want to keep his job? So
definitely not. But I don't know about Amorim.
Right. So exactly. So all of that plays into it. Did he want to keep his job in the first place? He didn't get the players that he wanted. They want to get different players. They want him to play a different system. All those type of things play into it. So had he stuck to the process, it's funny because him sticking to the process is part of the, you could say part, obviously putting on defenders and something like that is the reason why he isn't as high as he should be. But at the same time, it's also where he's also improved the team, if that makes sense. He's still doing well. Like he had something there. It was ugly to watch, but it was something there. For me, go on. No, go on.
I was going to say, I hear you on that. And that's where the stubbornness, I think, is, it kind of reveals the weaknesses or the handicaps in these managers, where they can't seem to do anything else. They're just dependent on a system. And that's all they know. And I think a club like Manchester United deserve a bit better than that.
And I think maybe with younger managers, and you need experience to know, because the fear is you change something before actually seeing the process play out. Because the point of a process is you can't rush it. Like, you have to see it through. But then you also need the wisdom of knowing when and how to at least adapt and make little changes. And I think that comes with time. I don't know how many games Amorim's managed. I know he did about 3 or 4 years of Sporting Lisbon before going to Manchester. And so that kind of plays into it. I think similar to Enzo Maresca, like we talked about his process before, and I know that you don't like his style of play, for instance, but and I remember we was doing the show on it, like for the last 2 seasons, he was literally getting almost identical numbers, if you remember, or similar offensive and defensive numbers. Like it was remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
With a whole set of different players. It was crazy to watch. So you can see that he has a particular process. Whether you like it, he has a process. Very good attacking. Defensive is suspect. I personally think that's down to the centre-back situations, that you never had the stable centre-back, but fine. the thing is, he's still, even according to your table and actual before this game week, he's probably a top 5, top 6 manager for sure.
You see, this is where the difficulty of fixtures, I think, could play a role. You see, quality is something that this data doesn't really ever address, right? And at the end of the day, Maresca had his best fixtures of the season. He used his best fixtures of the season already.
Right.
And I don't think he was finishing top 4, irrespective of his process.
Even your own table. So you don't like you don't
that's
the
limitation. That's the limitation of the math. It doesn't distinguish between the quality of the opponents.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
It's going to credit you with the same metrics, regardless of whether or not it's against Leeds having a good day, and whether or not Leeds going to have that same good day 3 months from now, which is highly
unlikely. Played it after game week 21. You've played everyone. So it
depends on home and away.
That's what you mean. Okay.
All right. Okay. So that's why I opened my comments by saying people haven't really studied Maresca's fixtures. All the difficult teams were home games.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got all. I mean, I think Newcastle was probably the most difficult away game we had for the first half of the season.
Okay.
Everything else was at home.
Right. Okay.
Right? And we bungled it. So now we're saying we're going to go and perform in their yard? No.
Okay.
And I mean, and Newcastle must be disappointed by the outcome of that game anyway.
Yes.
That's drop
100%,
points.
100%.
We should have lost that game.
100%.
Right? So that's my view on the fixtures. And this math just does not understand the hell that Chelsea has to go through. The back end, middle to back. No, here's the other thing. We did well at the back end of the last 2 seasons to clinch top 4. The problem is that our difficult run is no longer now at the end of the season like last year, is a little bit earlier up. So that if we at all end up in a Champions League playoff, it's going to be a fixture cluster, right?
Mm-hmm.
With some really difficult games. I can see us just dropping points after dropping points and being in that top 10 struggle. And what are we dealing with? A guy who can't handle League One in France.
But he's not managing PSG though, Liam. He's managing Strasbourg.
He spent a lot of money.
Okay.
Certainly more than the non-PSG teams that are all stacked ahead of him. There are at least 5 of them.
Right. Okay.
Right? So look, at the end of the day, he might strike gold. We had a Champions League victory with an assistant manager back in 2011. I think that was the year. It was the 11-12 season. So look, anything could happen. Liam Orsini might win the Champions League. Who knows? But I think common sense will prevail. I think football always reverts to the mean, and these kinds of appointments will get punished. Maresca left with a win percentage in the 40s. People think he was a genius. He was winning 49% of his league games. That's 2 points off of Poch at 47.5. Sorry, 1.5 percentage points off of Poch.
Right.
He was in the 21st century, he was the 3rd worst manager that we've had in the league. But people talk about him like he's a genius. And the math suggests he's a genius, right? But he's been horrific.
Do you sympathize that the owners obviously have their own model, which is buy and sell at a super rapid rate, if I can say, or a lot of volume of players? That creates, you sell Jackson, Madueke, you get Gittins and Garnacho, and for any manager that's difficult to do, to just implement players and new personalities all at once. I don't know how many players you got this season, how many players went in. That could attribute to maybe the volatility in some of his results.
I think the age of the player is not necessarily the ins and outs.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, these clowns came to football and decided that it's acceptable to play under 23 teams in men's leagues. I think we've known for decades, if not centuries, that there are age categories in football for a reason. And because you bought a 17-year-old kid from Brazil, that's the next Neymar, doesn't mean he can play every week in the EPL. He's
For
had some
sure.
great games, and then he's had some games where you're wondering, send him to Strasbourg for a term to learn something, right?
Yeah.
So this is the problem. Look, Chelsea is a club that has been run by ChatGPT for the last 4 years. Okay, at every level. Okay, they come up with these theories without regard for previous experience, just extrapolating data to say this is where we're going to end. The rest of us who've been watching football forever know that it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You are not going to bring something new here and change football. It is too widely embedded in global sports culture, too tested in the UK, for you to think that you can come here and bring new ideas. It will fail. And it is failing. And to have squandered the amount of money that we've squandered and now in a top 10 race is insane.
For you, if just final questions before we wrap up, which teams do you think are letting down their manager, and who are your which teams do you think are letting down their manager?
Any team that has a significant positive number in this diagram, in this game, week 21. What that means is that I'm saying they should be higher than where they are on the points table. So Manchester United has been letting Amorim down. Chelsea is a little bit weird because actually, although right, Chelsea's a little bit weird.
Always brings you back to Chelsea, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's more fixtures than it is actual performance and output, because our team has been scoring, right? I don't think we've been missing chances that much. I think what we've had actually is a lot of team missing expected goals against us. So that's something that Maresca always led the league in. He, expected goals against, he was the king of that stuff. And everybody just flubbed their chances when playing against Maresca, much to my dismay, but frustration. But I think Crystal Palace is right now letting their manager down. But that's more management. The depth of that squad to try to have a European campaign and a domestic campaign is insane. Yeah. And going that deep into the Carabao Cup. And Bournemouth and Leeds to some extent. I mean, Leeds is interesting.
Good team,
it is a good team. So those teams, I think, if I were to say the ones that are letting their managers down, Newcastle has stopped letting their manager down. So you can see there's a positive number there. So I am showing them as one place better than they should be. But that was four places before. So Newcastle has finally started to deliver for Eddie Howe. That's what I'm showing here. So I want to say Manchester United, Bournemouth, and Leeds are potentially letting their managers down. The teams that are really overperforming are the two -7s that you see here, right?
Sunderland and Villa, yeah.
All right, yeah. So those teams, and look, Emery almost caused me to question math. Okay, I don't have arguments with science, but that man, and what to be doing this for such a sustained period, it is no longer just a trend, right? This is actually a method that he's applying for this many games, for this many points. And let me tell you, the form of this team actually turned around as soon as the sporting director was sacked at Villa. Remember, he started out a little bit rough. They sacked the sporting director. Yeah. And all of a sudden, Emery is in charge, and the team takes off on a 13-game run. Or how much ever it was they were unbeaten.
Hmm.
right? And he's in third place, but and to pretend that you can go that long and it's just a hot streak made me question XG and math.
Well, he did have Morgan Rogers, who was doing absolute screamers, but it's intentional screamers. Like they
Yeah,
just, yeah.
he knows he has the quality, right? Bendia
Yeah,
is he's got quality outside that box that these guys, given half a chance, will tuck it away. He
yeah.
doesn't have the quality up front, because I don't know what his strikers do, but in terms of that three that he's got behind the striker there, I thought McGinn was going to get him sacked. I predicted that. McGinn is great. Okay, he ain't fancy, but he's deadly. Right? I love McGinn. So I think those teams, I think Villa is a weird one. Chelsea is a weird one, but otherwise, Sunderland. Again, I is it hot streak, lucky streak? I don't know. That seems like process to me, man. It's too
And
consistent.
and just I was going to last questions. I was going to ask about us the last time, but I was going to just on Villa, but I was going to ask about Tottenham in a moment. But just on Villa, so you don't think because they're doing so? Do you think they'll have? How much of a say is probably a better question? How much of a say do you think they'll have in the top five race? Because
Villa,
it's pretty, yeah,
I think Villa's a lock. I think they're going to stay in there. So I think it's really for fourth and fifth place.
yeah, big race for that. Big race for that. The one and before I finish, Tottenham. Now Tottenham have nowhere to hide on your table,
Tottenham
and
is right where they should be. Yep, zero.
so they're on zero. I'm also looking at I'm looking at the actual Premier League table as well,
They're
where
they're, they're 14th. They're
they are
14th.
14th. They're exactly where they should be. Even the just a quick even the even the XG table on FOTMob has got them 13th. They're being a bit kind. Obviously, their formula is a little bit different to yours. They're just pure XG. But what does that tell you then?
This is one of these situations where I want to give the manager a chance.
Okay.
No, having said that, his process is trash, but
Okay.
his team is not good enough. It's not fit for purpose either.
Okay.
So a mediocrity meets mediocrity.
Right.
Would
Okay.
I want to give him a few more months with a couple signings? I would. And the only reason I say that as well is who are you gonna get that's better? Right? And which is I think a consideration you yourself was making when people were clamoring for Eddie Howe to be removed. Anything else is generally gonna be a downgrade.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You can't take a punt on Edwards, although I think he's a manager to keep your eye on.
What for Wolves, Edwards?
Sorry, am I talking? No, I'm talking about Brentford.
Oh, Keith Andrews.
Sorry, Andrews. Sorry, what am I saying? Edwards. Andrews. Keith
Okay.
Andrews. Keith Andrews.
Hmm.
He is actually a really interesting manager.
Hmm.
Now, it also helps to have a very prolific striker. So I would
Yes.
like to see him without that striker that he has. And I am surprised people aren't trying to get him. I mean, I don't know how Brentford does it. They've just been selling strikers, right? But somebody coming for that guy. He's just too good.
Hmm.
So, Andrews, we need to see more of him. Ira, Iraola, I think he is, I don't know. Again, these guys are suffering from not having good squads, right? But I think he's a good manager.
Hmm. Okay, so not much hope for Tottenham there then.
No, look, give Tottenham a few signings. Are they? I think they should be aiming for UEFA Cup. They're not going to be in the UCL places. I think right now, Manchester United made the move when they should have. I think they're going to be a top 5 team. I think Newcastle is going to be a top 5 team. And then it's going to be Sorry, wait, hold on a second. I forget Liverpool. So yeah, so it's going to be between. So if they top, it's going to be Newcastle, I think, and United fighting it out for the fifth place.
So you got Liverpool fourth.
I think Liverpool. I mean, you saw them against Arsenal today. I think they're pretty decent. I think. Look, Slot. I don't get. I like Slot confuses me. This season, I saw him attempting Maresca ball. I'm like, why are you inverting two of the best attacking fullbacks last season?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And it's kind of like, what are you trying to do? He had five midfielders on the pitch, like just weird stuff. At one point, he only had one midfielder and five attackers, right? So he was doing weird things. But to us on the outside, we can't see the process he's trying to implement. It looked like Maresca ball to me, but I still think he's got too much quality in that team to miss out.
Okay. Big up D-Man. I see him in the chat. God bless you, sir. D-Man says, we finished sixth this season, which is pretty decent given the circumstances. Is that if we finish sixth this season, which is pretty... Okay. So D-Man's also a Newcastle fan, great content creator. So he's, I think, yeah.
I got you guys in fifth. I got you guys finishing fifth.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but I did my mid-season review on Tuesday. And I think what it comes down to for Newcastle is keeping our personnel fit for as long as possible.
I think you're going to need a centre back or two, though, right?
100%. We've got exactly. We've got no backups. Shah's gone. Lascelles not fit. Dan Burns not available for the next 2-3 weeks, and we've got I don't know. Like it's going to be interesting what they do because you can't. We're very patient, should I say? Some might say overly patient. So it'll be interesting to see
too patient.
So yeah, you say too patient. I know we're definitely going to go for a left back. Are we going to get a left back that can play left centre back as well? That'll be interesting. I think, like you said, I've always had whether these metrics or anything else. I feel like the process, Eddie Howe is very good at the process and managing adaptations to that process when he needs to. So I've never had an issue with it. So long as he's got the players, as long as Eddie Howe has the players available, he does what he's supposed to do. If that makes sense. So And when I did my mid-season review, I did the graph on it, looking at the XGs and looking at the results, and then looking at I put it together with our squad rotation. Whenever he had most of the team fit, pretty much, or at least like the key players fit, they're doing fine. They're doing fine. So there's a reason why we're still in all four competitions. We're in semi-finals. We're on the periphery of qualifying for the Champions League. The main thing is keeping the team fit. So we're in January now. We'll see what movements we make. I hope we'll get a left back minimum. We'll get a left back minimum.
You need some centre backs, I think, man.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Shah being injured now, where he could be out for months, and he's got 6 months left anyway in his contract. Maybe they put forward whatever plan they were to get the centre back in somewhere forward. Maybe they do that. That's what I hope for. So
and you guys got a keen eye for these players, right? Because Chow was a great signing.
Yeah,
Eddie Howe doesn't get enough credit for that.
Well, especially from some of our fans who keep on bringing up Elanga and Ramsey, and then they forget Tonali, they forget Bruno, they forget Chow, they forget Voltamada, they forget how Livramento, Hall. The list just keeps on going on and on and on. Like this, you get folks saying, "Don't make sure Eddie Howe doesn't get his hands on the transfer budget." And I'm like, if you're looking at if you're going to do a success rate, that might be a next table you should do. Transfer success rates for players amongst managers, right? I'm very, very confident that Eddie Howe will be in your top 2, top 3 managers, over at least since he took over around Newcastle. So that'll be my take on it. But Bobby, it's been absolutely phenomenal. Chat, we've had an incredible show. We've got chat here from Adrian. Got Arsenal, City, Liverpool, and Chelsea all away. Oh, for Newcastle, yeah. So we're playing Arsenal away, City away, Liverpool away, and Chelsea away because we've played all these guys at home. But it's such a weird league, Bobby. Like City are are struggling a little bit. Liverpool are struggling a little bit. Chelsea, obviously, you got Chelsea as well. It's just so unpredictable. But yeah, difficult fixtures away for us as well. But folks, we did the match reaction to the Leeds game, which is phenomenal. We looked at the team stats and metrics overall, as well as the individual stats and metrics, and how each different players performed, put together their pass types, passing, shot creating actions, defensive actions. The top three players over most of those were Bruno, Lewis Hall, and Lewis Miley. All players either bought and developed by Eddie Howe. just to mention that, but they were absolutely phenomenal. I've got Bruno Gomes as the man of the match for that game, just edging it over Lewis Miley, I think, or either Lewis Miley or Lewis Hall, either one of them. No, over Barnes, excuse me. Bruno edging it over Barnes, and then Lewis Hall. Then we did the match preview for the Bromley game, Bournemouth game, which is going to be very difficult to predict because what team are Bournemouth going to bring? What team are we going to bring? I think we're going to make about 7-8 changes for this game. Miley could even start at centre back at this stage. So we'll see. But I gave a 2-1 prediction. I think Bobby gave a 2-0 prediction, a very confident 2-0 prediction. And a few of you guys gave predictions as well. And Bobby came on. We did a fantastic show doing the ratings for Premier League managers using his phenomenal table, XG table, XG/actual goals table,
modified table, yeah,
modified
XG table, yeah,
modified XG table, giving a new perspective on managers as always. But you guys have been absolutely phenomenal as always. You're liking, you're sharing, you're subscribing. I think we're less than I think we're like 27, 28 subscribers away from 1,000. So
wow. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Good job, brother.
Yeah, no, amazing panel, amazing friends of the channel like yourself, Bobby. So let's push on and let's keep on doing. And Bobby, I want to thank you as always for coming on and adding substance and context and knowledge to the show as always. And hopefully you'll be
Always
back soon as well. Always hopefully you'll be back soon. But folks, make sure you take care of yourselves and God bless as always.